Welcome to the Grandstand Golf podcast. This is the weekend golf update for the Valero Texas Open. I am your host, Adam Bhatia, and as always, I'm joined by my brothers, Kevin.
Hey, everybody.
And Craig.
Hey, happy to be here, guys.
Craig, Kevin, you almost just went with a video wave, and I was going to remind you this is an audio podcast as well. We do need you to say something.
Just the subtle head nod.
Yeah. This is our Valero Texas Open recap and the weekend golf update. But guys, we did a Masters picks, preview, bowl predictions. That podcast is already out. It's out. Subscribe on our wherever you get your podcast. It's also out on YouTube if you want to watch it there. But Craig, we are doing the Spieth week or the Valero Texas Open. Give us a quick recap of what we saw this week.
Okay, I'm changing things up a bit this week in lieu of a recap. We'll get into what happened in the tournament, but it has been a little while since Jordan Spieth has won a PGA Tour event. So last one he won was the Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, July 23rd, 2017. For those of you keeping track at home, that is 1,351 days. So I just wanted to get into a little bit what has happened since then. What was going on in the world then, what's going on in the world now. So we didn't even have the solar eclipse. Do you guys remember that happening? It was a fairly significant event. That hadn't happened yet. Literally, we've hid from the sun since Jordan Spieth last won. The day after the 23rd, the 24th of July, Nick Foles just reported to his new team, the Philadelphia Eagles, to start training camp.
Wow.
We'll see how that one turns out. Speaking of people who have, maybe moved on from positions, Harvey Weinstein was still in control of the Weinstein Company. I don't think that one's going to turn out too well.
No, that's not good.
Another person who was, has been removed from a position, Anthony Scaramucci. Do you guys remember this guy? The Mooch?
Yeah, the Mooch.
He was only there for a couple minutes anyways, wasn't he?
So this actually hit. The 10 days that he was the director of communications at the White House happened while Jordan Spieth won the Open. And yet, lastly, over the Open Championship, over in jolly old England, the next year, they had a royal wedding. Meghan Markle, Prince Harry. I think that one's going to turn out just great.
Speaking of people being removed from positions.
Speaking of people moving on. So, I just wanted to ask you guys, since 2017, what was your life like then? What's changed in your guys' life?
Well, you said it was July?
July 23rd, 2017.
I'll let Kevin think about it for a while because he seems to be pondering. I mean, pretty much everything in my life has changed. I've gotten married. I've had a kid. I've bought a house. I feel like I've probably joined jobs and left jobs since then. I don't really know. But yeah, that's a long time ago. I mean, my history is in that kind of time span.
You were a very different man back then.
And about 1,000 gray hairs. No, like 10,000 gray hairs ago.
Yeah, I also have bought a house, had a son. Was already married, but yeah, it was a different world.
Yeah,
you,
for sure.
Craig? What's happened?
Oh man, I just had finished my first year of law school. I was a fresh, naive youngster. Well, not so young, but had just met my now wife. And we also have since gotten married and bought a home and not quite any children, but we settled down with our little puppy. So yeah, things have changed dramatically.
We have done more in this time span than Spieth did. That's what I've taken away from this.
He might have things other than golf going on in his life too.
Actually, now that I think about it, I didn't even bet on golf when that happened, and now look at us.
Now look at us. Okay, so let's dig into it a bit. Jordan Spieth, it's been coming for a while. I really feel like he just missed an opportunity here. Like, you save the win for next week, and then it really, you pull the Tiger Woods, it really hits harder. But yeah, no, great win. Obviously, he's coming into Augusta now with tons of momentum. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't know. That was actually kind of my first thought. Adam already had him pegged as his one and done. Are you afraid now? He's already
everyone for the Masters. Everyone tries to find these certain things the winner has done leading up to, and I'm guilty of this as well. I know I
do this more than anyone.
No, not more than anyone. Of the three of us, I'm like, okay, they need to have a top 10 at the Masters, or a win in the past like calendar year, or 365
They need to have vegetable soup on Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. People are like, he can't go back to back. Of course, he can go back to back. Like, it changes not at all my one and done for tomorrow or for next week or for the Masters.
Or how you feel about your one and done.
Yeah, I feel great about it.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have liked just what Craig did today. Craig had him for one and done this week.
I'll take the cash in the pocket.
$1.3 million. I mean, I would like to have that guarantee, but
it is a bit of a sore spot for me. I texted you guys about it, but I watched my 2 one and done picks from last week, Hoffman and Spieth, battle for the winner's check this week.
Yeah.
Just a little early. You know what? I'm still feeling like my process is right. You know, I gotta trust the process. My process is good. It's not quite hitting the right peaks, but
that's how I felt early in the year.
Craig, I think you kind of nail it. Like, this has been a long time coming, or not a long time, but like we've seen him charge on early in the tournaments. Yeah, the progression of Jordan Spieth. I mean, it's cool. Like, just from a golf fan, he moves the needle. We all know that. It does. He does seem to bring a different, a different golf fan, maybe like out of the woodworks a little bit, but more eyes on golf the better, and he brings those eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he brings not even the casual golf fan, but more the casual sports fan to golf, and it's maybe less so on a Valero Texas Open.
Yeah.
But if all of a sudden he's in contention at the Masters, he's going to bring people are going to tune in that otherwise are not going to tune in.
Yeah, if it's DJ Rahm versus DJ Spieth, a lot more people are tuning into DJ Spieth, I think. Like that showdown.
Yeah. Now, just real quick, Justin,
week, I don't know.
Justin Ray Golf tweeted this one out. Jordan Spieth gained 12.89 strokes tee to green this week. It's his most in any of his 12 PGA Tour victories. That's a little bit surprising to me, just because of how dominant he was for a period of time there.
Yeah, I mean, this week, though, he really seemed to have it all clicking. I didn't get to watch a lot of the earlier rounds, but, the last two, I know he finished, he kind of seemed to put his foot on the gas pedal towards the end of his rounds, and he kind of followed through, so he seems to be firing on all cylinders, and I joke a little bit about it to Adam with him as his one and done next week, but in all honesty, he's got to love the way his game is looking going into Augusta. And this really can only build confidence for him. It's not like it's just a monkey off his back. If he had gone into the Masters without having that win in 4 years, then that's another thing he has to get over. But now he's got that out of the way. Just, you're at a place where you've had tons of success. Like, yeah, it's perfect for him, really, I think.
The confidence was rising over the last couple of months, and with that, the good play. And now, I mean, he could go into Augusta. I mean, even last year, he had a good finish with still kind of the Spieth we knew of the last couple of years. And now when he comes in now, comes into Augusta National, goes to the Champions Dinner, like I'm thinking he has.
They're not sitting him down at the end of the table. They're gonna move him up a bit.
But he has that confidence that he can beat anyone if he. I mean, I know almost every golfer in the field feels that way, but I mean, not everyone is DJ or Rahm or Spieth. That's just a reality. But he will go in there thinking that I can beat anyone. If I'm at my best and if they're at their best, I can still win. And that's a lethal thing with Jordan Spieth.
So led the field in birdies, led the field in putts per green in regulation. So to me, this is just a great call. Led the field in putts per green in regulation and was fourth in scrambling. So if you're leading the field in putts per GIR and you're scrambling, then those two things seem like together you're gonna have a pretty darn good tournament.
It's just I think he's now able to see, like, he knows where the ball's gonna go. He's able to see where the ball's gonna go, and he doesn't overthink it. It just goes where it's going. Him around the green and with his putting, he sees where it's gonna go, and he his hands get it there almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say one of the things to me that is, in terms of the Masters hype, he did gain off the tee on the week, but he gained less than a stroke there compared to 7.5 basically on approach. He was tied for 78th in driving accuracy. So
I was just going to ask that one. Okay.
The potential Spieth problems, he avoided those. He didn't make big numbers off of them and whatnot, but those are still there. But that's the same type of thing that we talk about with JT, who is the number 2 player in the world. So to me, that's not like, oh, this is going to keep him from winning. It's more just like he needs to dodge these bullets during the week to contend.
Yeah.
Okay. Jordan Spieth was great. Anything else on him before we move on? Because we could talk about.
Well, okay. So were you guys watching down the stretch there? The 8-iron, like the layup 8-iron. Only Jordan Spieth is going to find a way to make the layup into the par 5 to bring a little drama into a leading by 2 situation. Like, buddy, we're all ready to just let you stroll up there with the applause from the crowd, and instead you want to keep the drama right till the end.
I'm drafting all my tweets for him to win. I'm like, oh, okay, save the draft, save. I'm like,
maybe not schedule. Maybe I'll just save.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, to me, I feel like it was a bit of a 3-horse race. Matt Wallace was right there at the start of the day with Spieth, and then Charley Hoffman charged today. It was really those 3 who, when it came to Sunday, those were the 3 in the conversation.
Yeah, there will have everyone. That's where the coverage focused on. I was kind of telling you guys beforehand, watching the final coverage today, it was kind of nice to see kind of the process between, especially down the stretch, Hoffman and Spieth, especially Spieth with his caddy kind of talk through shots, on that par 3 on 16, they're talking about like the win. It is kind of cool to get that like kind of behind the curtains a little bit and watch that, but we didn't see a lot of the rest of the tournament. There wasn't a lot of big names and there weren't people charging. So we had Hoffman and Wallace and Spieth, and that's kind of what the show was this week.
They sort of separated themselves coming into the day anyways, but you look at the leaderboard and I guess Pat and Kazire had a 65, but otherwise those 2 guys and Lucas Glover had a 66 to finish in 4th. But like Hoffman and Spieth both shot 66. They both shot a 66, sure. And I think Hoffman, what he did over the weekend was admirable. I mean, he shot +3 on the first day. And then he went 66, 65, 66. So, it's admirable what he did, and he put the pressure on Spieth, but Spieth just didn't back down. He just played rock solid the whole way through. So I don't think there was really many other storylines to follow.
So
to me, Adam will get frustrated with this, but Kevin will understand what I'm talking about. To me, it's sort of like an F1 race, a Formula 1 race, where so often Lewis Hamilton just dominates and first place isn't up for grabs. So down the stretch, you get really interesting stories as people are jockeying for other positions. But this is one of those races where the only real thing that was when Spieth and Hoffman are right there battling over it, that's where it's going to focus. You're not going to focus on the battle for 5th when the battle for 1st is up for grabs.
Yeah, exactly.
When I think it was 15 where Charley Hoffman chipped in, brought it to 2 strokes difference. Who are you guys cheering for? Just out of curiosity.
Since Craig had the one and done, I was going for Hoffman.
I was pretty happy with either. I was cheering for Hoffman because I wanted to see him win into the Masters.
Yeah. That's pretty much the reason I was cheering for Charley Hoffman. That's exactly it. And I feel like
it's the Charley Hoffman Open. Like, he gets 1 paycheck a year, I think, basically. So, got to make it as big a check as possible.
And with how Spieth was playing, I think there will be, even if he didn't get his today, it would have been a letdown. But he's going to have much more opportunities than Charley Hoffman will.
Yeah, but you know, that said, the way it played out, I'm very happy for Spieth to get the win monkey off his back and everything. So
Me too, yeah.
I would have liked to see Hoffman just because I think he is a good player at Augusta, and so him winning his way in the week before at the tournament that's kind of known as his specialty tournament would have been pretty cool. But I'm cool with it being Jordan Spieth's return to the winning circle too.
Yeah. I mean, he got himself up to 72nd in the world with that solo second, so that gets you back into a position where you can, you know, start to get into maybe some WGC.
Yeah, just outside the WGC number. So if there's an injury or a couple injuries, you're in the field.
Yeah, and then, you know, once you're back up into 50th, if you can get there in the world, then you're into everything. So it's a step in the right direction regardless.
Yeah, he's been playing well. Guys, I think we're going to change things up a little bit here. Before we get into other topics, should we just kind of pop off the 3 stars here?
Yeah, let's kind of wrap up the Valero. Let's do the rest of what we need to do to put that to bed.
Well, maybe let's maybe do stock up, stock down then if we're going to wrap up, because I feel like there's the third guy on the leaderboard here we still need to talk about.
Why don't I do the 3 stars? And
okay,
then we'll
okay, let's do that. Yeah.
Sheesh, it's going to be a quick 3 stars here. I'm getting bumped to the end of the show, mid-show here. Golly. All right. 3 stars to the week. 3rd star is Charley Hoffman, a guy we talked about, so I'm going to be pretty quick here. But he went, as kind of Kevin alluded to, from Friday to Sunday, 19 under. He had that 3-over start. He went 19 under, as Craig said, in the Charley Hoffman Open. He absolutely owns TB San Antonio. It is sad to see that it's kind of too little too late for his season to make the Masters, but he can hang his hat on the 3rd star and the 2nd place finish at Valero, I guess.
A fine consolation prize.
Yeah. 2nd star. I think we'll come back to this a little bit later in the pod, but Patty Tavatanakit. I got to work on that one a little bit.
Tavatanakit?
Patty T. Patty T won the first women's major of the year, went wire to wire to win the ANA Inspiration. Lydia Ko charged on Sunday with a course record 62. But Patty T, an LPGA rookie, just 21 years of age, got the victory. She averaged, guys, this is the best stat I found for the week. She averaged 323 yards off the tee.
Wow.
Holy
300. Yeah, she absolutely, like, a bomber. Like,
I might have to rethink my distance debate position.
Absolutely unbelievable. But I'm sure we'll get back to it in the later in the pod. Let's rip through these 3 stars. 1st star, Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth, for my one and done sake, let's continue into Augusta, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of people that'll be paying attention to whether he carries it on into Augusta.
Okay. Stock up, stock down. Craig, let's kick it off.
Okay, so I've decided to focus on a couple guys we're going to see next week. I have going up Matt Kuchar. Yeah. So this is the 2nd week in a row. You know, we saw him play well at the match play. I was not necessarily certain whether I was, buying in. It's the match play. It's so different from a 72-hole stroke play event. You can kind of have ugly holes that don't really affect you in the same way, and just like really do a good job of grinding it. But so he was tied for 12th this week. It's his best finish since the 2020 Genesis Open. So we're talking pre-COVID,
right?
Quite a whiles back. So yeah, stock up going for me. I think Adam and I spoke about this briefly, but he was one of your momentum guys going into Augusta, and I totally agree. I think that to me it's a stock up. He showed he has a bit of form that I don't think any of us were expecting a couple weeks back. So Matt Kuchar, stock up.
And I think he's one of these guys with no form can show up to Augusta and get a top 30. With form, he could throw in a top 10. Like, I really think he could.
Yeah. And he is one of the guys that really flies under the radar too. So you're always going to get decent odds with him, I think. Even if you're just betting a top 20 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
I don't really, with the power at the top right now, I don't really see him contending for the victory next week. I mean, he could do it, of course. Any of these guys could, but I definitely see him having a strong finish.
Okay, on the other side, stock down. a guy that I actually was somewhat high on coming into the week. Zach Johnson. He ended up with a missed cut. He was +4, so missed by a couple. But, he had just been a model of consistency. Last time he missed a cut before this week was the it was the PGA Championship.
Really?
Yeah, so it was since the Wyndham Championship that he has been making cuts. That's when we saw him get a top 10, tied for 7th, play his way into the FedEx Cup playoffs, and then proceeded to have a pretty good end of 2020, start of 2021. It was 14 straight cuts he had made, and then right before the Masters, he decides to go and miss one. Maybe he just wanted a couple extra days to practice. I don't know, but for now, it's a stock down on Zach Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of I haven't really been paying that close of attention to Zach Johnson. But coming out of the COVID break, he was close to 250th in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he had slipped that far. He's 107th now. After that good stretch of golf. So, yeah, that's interesting. I mean,
yeah, like
he seems to me like one of these guys that's kind of been like hanging on at that like kind of the fringe of being relevant for a long time, like years and years now. But yeah, so.
But really, maybe, like as far back as so 2019 was when he sort of started falling,
right?
And he was still in the double digits in terms of world rankings, and then fell back to outside. Like he was 260th, I think, at the lowest point. So yeah, I think he's late in his career, but for now it's a stock down for me.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, what do you got moving up, moving down?
Yeah, so my stock up this week, I wanted to give a shout out to Gary Woodland. Gary Woodland, this is his first top 10. He was T6 this week. It's his first top 10 since the Workday Championship or Workday Charity Open.
Which one? I feel like that's like a bunch of
tournaments. Which was like
he's
been in 17 tournaments since then. So
17 Workday tournament. No.
Yeah.
So we're talking the one at Muirfield.
This is right before Memorial.
Yeah.
So he in those two tournaments he was T5, T22, and then he's really fallen off the map. Like I believe there's a pretty significant injury in there for him, a hip injury, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was at, correct me if I'm wrong, but was it the AT&T somewhere where he was overjoyed by the fact that he was actually just able to play pain-free for the first time in like a long time.
Yeah, I think that was the Amex. The Amex where
Amex.
He
that's
came
right.
Back and
that's right.
Pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah. So that was since the Memorial, that was his only other top 20 until today, with the top 10. So, here's hoping that he's a one of the best ball strikers in the game, and when he's playing well, he can hit it with anybody. So, here's hoping that he's kind of back to finding the form that he was in when he won the U.S. Open there, and right time of year kind of to be
oh, for sure,
starting to find it, right. He's one of these guys that would for sure be battling for all the team events and everything like that. So hopefully his stock is kind of bottomed out and is back on the rise.
He's also one of these guys, I think. I mean, I remember betting him at the Amex, and he seems like standing over a 10-foot putt. Like, it's just so smooth and it seems to go in more than like most pros. Like, he just seems really confident over, like, when he's playing well, over those kind of 10, 15 footers, I feel like.
I have tons of confidence when I'm standing over them. I'm confident that I can maybe two-putt.
I'll lag this up there.
No, Gary Woodland though, to me it's a thumbs up. I think it's a great result. I did see one day, I forget which day it was, he was on the coverage. He doesn't look like he's moving super great. So like that's the one hesitancy I have, is that like, I mean, if he's not moving great and he's still getting a top 10, that's awesome, but like I'm not going to be on a big hurry to go out there and bet him next time. It's going to be like a stock up, keep an eye on it type thing.
It's more like I say, it's more of a shout out, and like here's hoping that this is the first kind of bend up. But even putting together 4 rounds, he was 71, 72, 67, 69, so he's playing pretty consistent. And you hope those 1 under even par rounds, as he starts to feel a little bit better, maybe he scores a little bit better, and
maybe it's the uptick that we've been looking for.
Exactly. So my stock down this week, unfortunately, is my boy Tony Finau. Missed cut this week, pretty surprising. I was actually a little surprised he was playing this week, leading into the Masters, but played and missed the cut. So he missed the cut at +3. He's only one shot out, but he's the kind of guy, he makes up enough strokes to the field every round just based on his skill set that you really don't expect him to miss cuts. And you don't expect him to miss cuts in kind of these sorts of fields, especially. But so he had he had that like lightning hot stretch of golf there for a while where he finished second 3 times in a row. Since then, he went 14th place, missed cut, tied for 28th, missed cut. Mm-hmm. So that's not really what you want to see leading into the Masters, which is somewhere in his brief history, he's had pretty decent success. I think last year was
his first 2 times showing up here.
Yeah, last year was November was his worst finish. Mm-hmm. So it's a place that with his distance and like I say, his skill set, he could be very relevant. And it's
100%. Absolutely.
He just hasn't been showing it lately. So I don't know if there's something wrong with Tony, but hopefully this isn't the start of a stock down.
So I backed him heavily. I boldly put 50% of my exposure on Finau this week. But here's the numbers that'll give you a little bit of a explainer as to what happened.
Give me this accuracy number.
So he was -4 strokes off the tee in 2 rounds. So it's about 2 strokes a round off the tee, and he was -2.5 putting. So he wasn't driving, he wasn't putting. He actually had decent numbers elsewhere, but like he was gaining strokes elsewhere because he just missed the cut with those horrible putting and driving numbers. But he was 141st in the field in driving accuracy. So that gives you
25%.
Sorry,
was it 25%? Was
25% fairways? Yeah. So hopefully. I mean, at least he wasn't doing everything badly, but it's concerning.
Those are the 2 things that I feel like a range session, an adjustment, how you kind of stance adjustment, whatever, could fix that real quickly. We've seen that with Justin Thomas before between rounds, Hideki Matsuyama between rounds when they started missing fairways. The putting, I don't know, but I like him. I kind of like it for DFS because people will be like, Finau's in a slump, but it's really only, a month or like a month.
I agree from that point of view. Like because the perception is going to be reduced on him, I think that there's potential value there, but it is concerning from if you are a fan of Tony Finau point of view.
Yes, 100%.
I think you'd rather have Spieth's momentum than Finau's momentum.
I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, moving up, I have stock up this week. I have Matt Wallace. So the third guy in the trio, but kind of fell off on Sunday a little bit. To me, Matt Wallace is just kind of a hard guy to predict. It's hard for me to know when he's going to pop or show flashes. And he seems to underperform in tournaments that he shouldn't underperform in. But he did lead the entire tournament in strokes gained tee to green with plus 3.83 per day. So he beat Hoffman, he beat Spieth, he beat the rest of the field. He was the best strokes gained tee to green. And I think Craig, on our A to Z Masters guide, I kind of gave Matt Wallace a little bit of a hard time, maybe moving outside the top 50 or, hasn't been the best on U.S. soil. So this is, one of his best finishes on U.S. soil, ties his best since the 2019 PGA Championship. He did have other top 5s, I think Memorial and somewhere else, but it came over for the Florida Swing Puerto Rico Open, and it didn't look great, but this looked really good, I think, for Matt Wallace.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know enough of his profile to know if this is a typical stat breakdown for him, but essentially he was third, and he lost strokes putting on the week. So to me, that he's doing a lot of the things you need to do to go out there and win. It's just you can't lose. You have to be playing so exceptional to lose strokes putting and to win a golf tournament. So I think it's very encouraging, the things we did see that were good. I would love to see him continue with some momentum here.
And I think it's hard for these Euros that, play European Tour, but then come over for WGCs, come over for majors, and then, they won a couple events maybe beforehand to get like adjustments or, time zone or whatever it is. It's hard to go back and forth, I think, between tours. And sometimes we're too hard to jump on them. And I think I was that way for Matt Wallace. So it's nice to see kind of these top finishes from a guy that's a top 50 player in the world and has been for a little bit.
Yep.
Moving down, a guy I had some exposure to, I talked about pre-tournament, I'm going Akshay Bhatia. And, it's just because it's kind of the consistency. He's still only 19. He needs to get some consistency in his game. He's battling Monday qualifiers, sponsors exemptions. He's trying to figure out how, where his immediate future is going to be on the PGA Tour or another tour. But he started the tournament, guys. He started the tournament on Thursday, 4 under through his first 5 holes. Yeah. We talked about this on our sleeper show. He shows these flashes where he's just brilliant and he's amazing on approach and he looks like the next great thing. And then he has started stumbling. He stumbled late Thursday. He stumbled on Friday. With 3 holes to go on Friday, he was sitting +1. So he lost a bunch of strokes. He's sitting +1 and only needed to go no worse than 1 over in the last 3 holes, 7, 8, and 9. He bogeyed 7, then he bogeyed the par 5, 8th, and he parred the 9th and missed the cut. When you start like that, I mean, it's kind of the exact opposite of the season pro with Charley Hoffman that starts +3 and comes back for this top finish. This guy with talent, you can't let those, those good scores bleed away. So it's just kind of disappointing. He didn't have exceptionally high hopes coming into the tournament, but when he flashed like that on Thursday, it kind of makes the miscut sting a little bit harder.
Well, and for somebody like him, like you were saying, battling everything he is, trying to establish himself and play into some kind of status.
Yeah.
And you just got to get through that cut. And then anything's possible. These guys are all so good that a 65's out there for any of them. And so he shoots up the leaderboard with a good round Saturday, and who knows, So, yeah, it stings when they, somebody like that can't finish it out to make the cut.
Yeah, I also think that it's just the reality. It demonstrates. I mean, we clearly see the talent there. He is so obviously talented, but it demonstrates how hard it is to be a pro golfer. How
golf is really hard.
Need to. They always talk about this, but pros hit bad shots, and the thing that professional golfers do is they make it so that their bad shots are still they're still making a par. Or maybe they string together a couple bad shots in a hole and they're making a bogey or something. But it's all of those little things. Yes, he makes birdies. He's good on that end of it. It's can you get through? Can you figure your way out of this bad position you've gotten yourself into and try to avoid dropping shots or dropping as few shots as possible? All those type of things. But 19 years old. I think this is, you're just kicking a guy that just missed the cut by 1. You're just kicking him, he's down.
Yeah, it is kind of harsh.
No, I agree. I think we're super high on Akshay, so it's a pep talk.
It's a pep talk. It's a little bit of a pep talk, exactly.
That's like mine and Tony. Just to be fair, I want good things for you, Tony.
Hey guys, I think I'm going to change things up again for our show. We're a little bit all over the place. We're doing multiple pods in a week. I think let's get our picks out of the way, then let's talk about the wider world of golf.
Just real quick before we do that, Lucas Glover, great day on Sunday, 66, played himself into 4th place. And then Anirban Lahiri, his second top 10 of the year, he came 5th. Just a really solid tournament from him.
Yeah, when he's on, his approach play is exceptional. But again, one of these guys that seems that he can rack up a ton of birdies and then cancel all out pretty quickly with bogey. So it is good to see that. President's Cup team member a few years ago. So it's definitely there.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Our pick sheet,
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna compliment you guys on your fades. Craig faded Scotty Scheffler T54. Kevin faded Hideki Matsuyama T30. But the real thing, the one and done. That's what we're here for. One and done. Craig took it with Jordan Spieth. I think it's your first winner of the year. I mean, it's hard to get a winner. You only got one tournament to use these guys. So $1.386 million into
my pocket.
No, wait, that's his points. It's points into your pocket. Kevin did pretty well with Corey Connors over 100K. Ryan Palmer was mine. I think he finished just one
so
back.
Adam falls back into third place.
Ryan Palmer got me six figures.
How the mighty have fallen.
I can't rely on my Siwoo cash anymore, that's for sure. So, yeah, updated standings. I'm in last with 3.5. Kevin's just ahead of me with 3.52 million. And Craig shoots up, almost skips the 4 million category altogether. He's at 4.96 million right now.
Yeah, and a week after I was saying how it's so crazy this far into the season that we're still all so close. So I'm going to get on my high horse here, do a little bit of gloating. So I don't know how long this will last. And
I was going to say, get it in while you can.
We still got 4 majors.
Yeah, we still got a lot of play to go. Yeah.
Okay, guys, so is a lot going on in golf this week. Who wants to take it off here with what else we saw in the golf world this week?
Well, I think, Adam, you've already touched on the ANA inspiration, so let's talk a little more about that. Patty T, as you call her, that's a tough pronunciation there, but that was a pretty riveting final round today with Lydia Ko charging with a 62. I tuned in kind of I was following it all day, trying to get a few things done around the house, but following it. And when I saw that she was, I want to say it was 9 under through like 12 or 13 or something like that, and kind of closing the gap, because the lead going into the day was 5 shots, I believe.
I think.
Oh, so, and she was further back than that, I think, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, she was further back than that. So yeah, this is we were talking about it a little bit before we started this, but yeah, Lydia Ko's almost a Spieth-like figure who has been at the pinnacle of her tour and then kind of fallen on some hard times and had to battle back through that. And this is one of her first, if not her first, like flash out of this. And to shoot for somebody like that, to shoot a 62 in the final of a major, that's compelling stuff. And
and not only was she at the top of her sport, she was number 1 in the world at age 17. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
To be number 1 in the world at anything at 17.
And realistically, she drained a birdie on 15 to go to 10 under. Had a tough downhiller on 16. Birdie putt, which she missed. But, she was 10 under through 15, and like, This is almost like Dustin Johnson's 60 that he shot. You're like, come on, Lydia, like shoot that like 59 or like 60 to catch her. But I mean, unbelievable round of golf, and made it interesting in what could have been kind of a snoozer because of how well Patty T played there. It was a very
so
compelling
just real
tournament.
quick to give a little more context into Lydia Ko. So she was number 1 in the world back in, I would say it's 2016 maybe. I don't know when she actually fell out of the position, but the majors, so 2017, 18, 19, and 20. There's 5 majors in women's golf.
Right.
So there's one that didn't happen because of COVID. So 19 tournaments. She had 4 top 10s after having 5 straight top 10s in 2015, 2016. So she really fell off, and so I think it's very nice to see her coming back into potentially being the form and the class of golfer that we saw at such a young age.
Yeah.
It's also
Tavatanakit.
Yeah,
I want to give her respect.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
yeah.
It's a
no,
tough
absolutely. I had it all broken out, but I screwed it up on the first go. Thank you, Kevin. It's also just an impressive leaderboard. We got Se Young Kim, Nelly Korda, Jin Young Ko, Inbee Park. Like, a lot of the world's top 5 or Rolex ranking top 5 are right there. So that's an impressive victory.
Yeah.
So Tavatanakit too. Is she a rookie?
She was a rookie, I believe. I think she was rookie of the year last year.
I saw some media calling her a rookie, like a rookie win, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah.
But I think her highest finish prior to this was like a T5. So it's to go from that to winning a major. Your first win is a major, like it's a big jump. And she was awesome today. Like she was so solid. It never even looked like anyone like she ever had a chance of not winning, and it was only because Lydia was just barreling down on her that it even became like anywhere close,
Right.
The thing that blows me away in women's golf is how they're so good so young. Like she's 21 years old. It's so crazy to me.
Well, yeah. And Lydia Ko's 23, and she's already had this all this turmoil in her.
She's already through the slump of the career, and
yeah.
See, so that's why I'm giving Akshay this pep talk. I'm just trying to get him in the same spot,
There you go.
Now, one of the things that I don't know if I'm going to rant about it today, but I do want to rant about it at some point, is that I really want to see the LPGA golf at Augusta National. We are lucky that they are doing the Augusta National Women's Amateur, where they play 2 rounds at I think it's the Champions Retreat golf course, and then they play the final. They play a 3-round event, and the final round is at Augusta National. Only the people who make the cut after the 2 days. So there's 30 amateur women a year get to play in the ANWA, and it's an awesome event. But I'll rant about it a little bit right now, but then I'll get into talking about it. So, I mean, essentially, we saw when they were not able to hold the April Masters, we saw them make it happen for a November Masters. The rationale as to why they are not doing like a women's Masters or an LPGA Masters or whatever you'd want to call it is because they don't want to take away from the men's Masters, or from the Augusta National Women's Amateur, which are both being held now. But we've seen they can hold a world-class event in November. So to me, it's like, okay, well, I feel like if they're trying to be, like, Augusta National is right now trying to be a more progressive, like they have a not the best history in terms of
for sure
inclusivity, and whether it's minorities or women, they do not have a great history. So I think that if they are going to try to be a leader in the world of golf, then I tune in. I love watching this Augusta National Women's Amateur because it's so cool to see people playing this golf course. Like, everyone loves this golf course. If they have an LPGA event there, it's going to be probably the most viewed women's major. Like, it's going to be probably the most viewed women's golf event.
Yeah.
So
it will.
It'll grow the game.
Now, Craig, one thing I will say, a little bit devil's advocate to your position there, is while Augusta did hold a tournament in November, I don't think like that was just trying to shoehorn something in at a time where like they were like scrambling to get that golf course playable prior to that. Like it's and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I know that like Augusta is essentially, I believe, like they don't even play it in the summer because it's so humid and like soft there.
No, they don't. From May to October, I think it's closed.
Yeah, they just don't even. They can't even play it. So, and I think with what you see with the ANWA, is they probably want as little traffic as possible through that golf course leading into the the main event, so to speak. So with that said, I think that you're right in that they obviously some other time in the year they can fit in a tournament like a women's
and they're a private
major.
club. I get that. But at the same time,
I agree with you.
If you're going to portray yourself as a progressive force in golf and try to move forward from a questionable history, it's just that's what. It just
I
kind
would
of,
love
and
to see it.
I
really would.
love the fact that they have this event now. So that's what I do want to commend them for, the fact that this exists.
Steps in the right direction.
It steps in the right direction,
But
but
we
it
can
just
do more.
sort of reeks of like, well, we're gonna let the men come out here and play for what, $12 million, whatever the purse is, and then the week before we're gonna have one day where women amateur get to come play, and we're gonna pat ourselves on the back for, like it stinks a bit.
So what about going the following week or 2 weeks after to let the course kind of rebound a little bit?
I agree. Or just a different, in May.
I don't know the logistics. Yeah, exactly. I don't know the logistics, but I think it would be. It would be a PR coup. It would just be so good for them on so many fronts that it feels like one of these things that should happen. It's just a matter of.
I honestly wonder if it is some of the members, or I don't know, like they don't want to limit their playing window as well. If their playing window is already limited and they, have the Masters.
Listen,
I don't think Augusta National
has
gets a ton of play.
Augusta National has never felt compelled to do anything that the public wants them to do. So they much do.
I totally
what
agree.
They want.
But then we hold pieces of merchandise from them like they are, pieces of like a relic from a sacred monastery. It's just absurd. Yeah. So why are we holding this place in such high regard if they're not going to bend over to anyone else? Essentially, whatever we want to put out there, you will take, and that is how it's going to be. This all said, I love the Masters. I think they are.
The reason is because what they put out there year after year is like one of the best products that a golf fan could hope to consume, right?
But you can consume that product without buying hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise, or apparently the merchandise is really what fuels the Masters from a revenue point of view, and so I just think, anyways, I think we ranted about it long enough. What I want to talk about.
If they want to bring us out there, we can golf on the Monday following. I think it's media day. We can go out there. We can talk to the people out there. We can hash it out there if they want to invite us out there.
Yeah.
Adam, I have probably just shot any chance I have of ever getting any sort of credential there. So I think I'll put that one to bed.
No way, man. No way.
The Augusta National Women's Amateur. It was a great event. I feel like most people were pulling for Rose Zhang to win, but she stumbled down on the back nine. She got beat up on hole 13. I want to say she put 2 into Rays Creek, or the first one was left of Rays Creek potentially, but she made an 8, I believe, followed it up with a birdie, got herself back in contention, but ultimately she missed the playoff where Tsubasa Kajitani won out of Japan. Just, I don't know, I don't know. Before I watched this, I knew none of these people. I had heard of Rose Zhang because she's just a legend in going into this tournament. She's already a legend, but it's just so cool to see people who, they're hitting it normal distances. So to see them play Augusta National is so cool to me.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so cool about women's golf is, the men's professional golf is a level of golf that you could never even imagine reaching. They hit it so much further and so much higher with so much more spin. We just can't really ever hope to do that, and we can never really hope to do what the women do either, because they're unbelievably consistent and unbelievably complete with their games. But there are more. There are a lot more comparables. They tend to hit similar distances. They might have the same. Their yardages might be the same with some of their irons, and their club head speeds might be more similar, and things like that. They just do it way better than almost everybody. So to see
but it makes it easier, for a course like Augusta National, where we only see the freaks, the ones who, the short driver, the Webb Simpson is the short hitter hitting at 293 average. We only see those people playing it. It loses kind of any sort of scale. But when you see I feel like I could see where that shot went from the TV camera of her hitting the shot, and so it's like, okay, this makes it feel like a golf course to me.
Yeah, this is what it looks like when a regular person hits a shot into this green from 200 yards. Like, not like Bryson with his 6-iron, it's a totally different thing. So
that's 6-iron, 7-iron, 8-iron,
max speed every time, And then the other thing about it being Augusta National, it's such a cool experience. Like, you see how much they all these I don't know if it's probably not all these women, how much they appreciate being out there. Like, one of them, her mom was, I want to say, a Swedish national team golfer, and so her mom caddied for her. I forget her name, but it's just like, there's just so much appreciation for Augusta National that it would be cool to see this enjoyed by more people. But yeah.
So speaking of that, if I could, Adam, I don't know where you're taking us next here, but
no, take it away.
I have been. I even have it on in the background right now. You may be seeing me glance over it every once in a while, but I've been compelled by the drive, chip, and putt that they host at Augusta. Never really watched it before. They're replaying it on the Golf Channel right now, but these kids are so good. They're so good, and it's essentially the national championship for the drive, chip, and putt. So they've qualified from all over. There's actually a number of the girls I noticed were from Canada as well.
So I guess doing well.
Yeah, I don't know if it's totally international or North America or what, but it's really cool to see these kids, and you can tell these kids are just like through the roof. Like, it's an experience that they just can't even believe they're having.
For sure.
And some of them, I'm watching some of them like drop some bombs or chip in, and they're giving big tiger fist pumps. And the one kid, I forget what age group it was, the boy, just before we started recording here, they're putting on 18. They do 2 putts from different lengths to 2 different holes on the 18th green at Augusta. Like, how cool is that, for one?
Right.
This kid drains about a 30-plus footer. It looked like it could have gone by about 10 feet, but right in the heart. And he just gives a wicked fist pump. And then he says it ended up, catapulting him to the victory of his age group. And he says, well, it's just such a great experience here, and maybe if I'm ever back here, I can use this experience. I'm thinking that it's so cool that these kids are like, the sky's the limit for them. This is it's such a neat
the doors are all still open.
Yeah, all still open.
They're closed to me. Those doors closed long ago.
Yeah. You're asking what has changed since 2017. Maybe my door was still open, but it is slammed shut at this point.
A few other doors closed.
But yeah, anyways, it's a pretty cool event, and it was funny because the one guy I noticed, he's about to chip, and they kind of pan to a shot, and JT has been sort of practicing his short game or whatever he's doing off to the side, and he's sort of stopped doing that, and he's turned and walked over and is watching this kid chip, and I'm like, cool. Man, as if he's not nervous enough just chipping at Augusta. Like, now he's got JT watching him. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
So Kev, I've just looked this up, and you're saying it was there's a Victoria player. It was the girl who chipped in. It was ANWA who had that chip
from
in.
Victoria, BC, Canada.
Yeah, she plays out of Royal Colwood.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah, and then she actually got beat by another Canadian, Alexis Card from Ontario. So Canada,
which age group is this?
Check out those 7 to 9 year olds. Watch out. What in women's golf, it might only be like 10 years down the road.
Yeah. Augusta National Women's Amateur, and like, what, do the math here, Craig?
10 years,
30? Yeah. They're going to be there.
Hey, it's the Brooke Henderson effect. Like,
Vince
for
Carter
sure.
And
the Raptors,
I think Brooke Henderson is going to have
Mike
a huge
Weir
impact
winning the Masters.
Sure.
I think the next generation of female golfers, I think we could have a few great Canadians, obviously showcasing their skills already.
Yeah, well, Brooke caught my attention early today, actually. I think she was 3 under through 5. To kind of make a little bit of noise early on. I thought she might be charging. I think she ended up finishing -2 for the day. I believe that was a top 20 for her, but I'm not not sure. She had a poor opening round, but
speaking of Augusta, okay, guys. Speaking of Augusta, we got a couple little tidbits of news since we did our Masters preview. I don't know if we talked about this off the top or if it was beforehand, but Jon Rahm, he's playing. Baby boy came on Saturday morning. It's all good. His family's all good. Everyone's healthy.
Kepa or Kepa, or we don't quite know for sure.
Yeah, Kepa, I think.
Kep. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Kepa.
So he'll be playing Augusta. So Kevin, your number one
I'm
overall
feeling
pick.
Great. I was. My wife woke up. It was her day to sleep in. She woke up. I said, I have great news. And then I told her that Jon Rahm has his baby, and she's like, "What's the great news? Is that the news?" But yeah, I'm very happy. I figure he's gonna be in that like jubilant, just adrenaline rush. New father, everything is great right now, and it's gonna, be early enough in him being the euphoria, and it's gonna be early enough in him being a new father that he's not gonna like be exhausted and like slowly starting to lose his mind and like so I think it's a sweet spot.
Like the delivery's over, he's like, so I think I could still get a practice round in today if I left now.
But super happy for them. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think Craig mentioned Justin Ray Golf on Twitter before. He's a great follow and one of the best, I think, with Masters stats. But I think he also tweeted out that Danny Willett had a baby like a week or 10 days before his Masters victory. So
there you go.
If you're looking for trends, I don't know.
And he had the vegetable soup on Wednesday.
Yeah, and the vegetable soup. I don't know.
Can't
Something
miss.
to think about. And then other news that I did not think was going to happen. Brooksy, speaking of Koepka, Brooks is playing in the Masters. People thought it was going to be months. It was going to be a long recovery. Just after he dropped his engagement photo, which apparently happened like a month ago, he flew into Augusta and he's playing at the Masters.
Well, and I think he early contender for tweet of the year, I would say. If you haven't seen this, check it out on Twitter. But there was a Golf Week article. Let's see, March 23rd, so a couple weeks ago. Brad, and the title of the article was Brad Faxon on Brooks Koepka's injury. Range chatter suggests Koepka could be out 6 to 8 months. And so Brooks quote tweeted that, and he has a picture of Michael Jordan saying, "And I took that personally." That's his way of announcing that he's going to be playing, I think.
The Michael Jordan memes and gifs from The Last Dance are priceless, and he used it perfectly.
And I took that personally.
So you guys wouldn't let me fade Brooks, and now I'm thinking that might be a good thing. Like, is this a beware the injured athlete kind of moment? Or what?
I was thinking that, man, I might want to redo that snake draft and slide a Brooks pick in there.
Yeah, that's true. He did not get taken in the snake draft, did he?
I think he has sneaky good form. So we mentioned everyone finished T2 in 2019. He was one of them. He was T2. And then followed up, I think, with a 7th last year. Let me get there real quick.
So, but what knee was it that he had worked on? Was it his right this time?
Yeah, so it was not the one that had been injured previously.
Okay. I always, and I don't really know, it probably both would be bad for different reasons, but I think that, like, with the twisting and turning for a right-handed golfer on the left, it would be a little more problematic than the right.
I think that has more torque and undergoes a greater strain, at least in like the traditional golf swing where you're really planting up on that left side.
And I think a lot of it has to do with confidence too, of shifting
onto that,
doing, like, knowing and trusting that you can do that without pain. So yeah, maybe the right's better in that respect, but who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think
I was gonna say that's all I got. So if there's anything else.
I think that's our podcast. Thank you for listening. As always, subscribe on your podcast provider. Go to YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube, of course. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. As we said, we have Masters content out already, but more Masters content is coming. So make sure to follow us on Twitter at Grandstand Golf. Follow us individually as well. We have our snake draft up there. We're a little bit competitive. So we have our snake draft that we did in our other Masters pod. Go there and vote for whose team you you think is going to win.
And listen,
Craig,
I here I'm pulling up the rear there right now, and I just have to say, look at the entirety of these teams, because, I mean, they may not be the sexiest picks, but they are just rock solid on Team Kevin there. So take a close look.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to mention is I hadn't seen these guys their distance, the 6 holes that the Bombers can attack at the Masters. I hadn't seen their content for that video until it had gone up, and that is awesome. It's so cool. It's a perspective of these holes from Google Earth that you guys kind of drew some some graphics over that. It's a perspective I had never seen, and I thought it was really, really cool. So definitely it's definitely worth checking that one out for sure.
Tell your friends.
The golf nerd, the Augusta fanatic, I think will really like that one. That's one of the things we've already dropped. We have like 3 or 4 videos already out. Some shorter, some longer in duration.
Yeah. Last thing from me.
Yeah.
On our preview video today, we were talking there is potentially thunderstorms this week. So keep that in mind. I think they're usually pretty good at making sure that play gets done on Sunday. But maybe make sure you got a flex day for Monday, just if needed.
That is good advice. That's great advice. Thank you everybody for listening. We will see you soon. Enjoy the Masters. We know we will enjoy the Masters. We will see you again soon.
Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, happy Easter, everyone. Take care.